Hey y'all, what's up? What's up? Welcome to another episode of Unspoken Truth Podcast. I'm your girl Denise. Tonight's guest is Cleveland's own Tory.
Hi.
So if you don't know, because I've been posting about her all week, y'all better get into it, okay, with this interview. I'm so appreciative for you just allowing yourself to come on the show.
Of course.
Tell your story. I've been following you for quite some time. And didn't know that you and my daughter knew each other. I started telling her about this girl I was following, and she do poetry. And my daughter was like, her? She was like, Mom, I know her. She was like, I'm going to get her on your show. And God willing, she made that happen, and I'm appreciative because that's like my biggest supporter is my daughter. So
yeah, your daughter is very sweet.
that's my mini me. Just kind of tell us, let's talk about, because you do a lot of things, but what you're known for in the city is spoken word and poetry.
Yeah.
So can you just kind of like talk to us about, how you got into that, like, because that's a gift. I would tell anybody, it's not a lot of people that know how to orchestrate words in a manner in where you tell a story.
Yeah.
Because that's what poetry is a story of sorts.
It is.
So just kind of tell, the followers and viewers, like, who is Tory, like the poet?
So I'm gonna answer your first question, how I got into it. I started writing at a young age. I was like maybe like 14 or 15, and I would only read my poetry to my sister, like literally, and like because poetry it's so subjective. Not everybody, like, you don't just hear everybody like raving about it, like how they do music. So I was very like sensitive about my shit.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah,
and so one day I had all my friends over. I was like about to go to college, so this is like maybe 3 years into me writing, and she was just like, "You should read them one of your poems." And I'm just like, "This bitch done broke our trust," because all my friends, like these are my best friends that I've been friends with since I'm like 10, 11 years old. They're like, "You do poetry?" And so I ended up doing a poem that night for them, and they was just like, "You have to do this in college." So when I got to college, I like started college is such a good place to go because it helps you network, and so I was able to like go find open mics on campus and just start doing that. And then from there, like, I just started posting my stuff on Instagram, and that was a really big step for me because I didn't think people would like really listen to it, but they did, and like it gave me the power to just keep going, and so that's kind of how I got into it. Shout out to my sister.
Oh, see, and this power, and even her, you spoke about feeling like she broke your trust by telling people about what you was good at, but I don't see it that way.
I don't now. Like now I see it. She was like, she seen something in me, and she really was like, if I can get you to tell them, then I can get you to tell these many people, and then I can get you to the rest of our family. And from there, that's how I got to social media. And I look back and I think about, like, what if I had just kept withholding this gift to myself? Like, thank God for her strength and her faith in me, because it has definitely opened doors and got me in rooms and got me in conversations such as this one that I never thought I would be having. So just thank you for having me and thinking that I got something to say, really.
That's so sweet, man. So I would say I've been following you since about January of this year.
Oh, thank you.
February, you did a month of poetry, is that right?
I did.
Man, some of the poems that you did during the month of February, which also happens to be Black History Month,
Yes, ma'am.
was powerful, man. I was like in tears with some of them. I'm like, man, this girl has a voice that I don't even believe that she even recognizes can reach masses of people. And I'm talking about just connecting where people can resonate with what you saying, the way you saying it, the tone in which you use when you say it. I'm talking about gave me chills. The first poem I ever heard you do, and I was like, who is this girl? Like, I'm one of them people, because I started this platform so I can give people a space where they could feel comfortable. Like you talked before we got started about being vulnerable.
Yeah.
Like, it took me a long time to get to this point where I'm like, okay, I don't mind talking or telling my story. I too have always felt like I'm an open book. I don't mind talking to people about things. What I don't enjoy or try not to do is speak from a place or a position that I don't know of. Because then I feel like I'm speaking out of turn. But most of the topics and things that we talk about on this platform is stuff I know about. Because I can't talk or tell a story about something that I have not one either experienced, been privy to through somebody else, or just had a calling, so to speak, on my life.
I feel that same way about poetry. Like, I can't write about nothing I don't know about. All my poetry is about me. I done been through it. Any poem I wrote, and that's why I feel like it's power in that, because my story becomes somebody else's story. Like, even my poems about, like, breakups or getting hurt or womanhood or girlhood, like, it's like when I tell that story, those are things I went through, but it's also like that could be somebody else's story. I definitely think my poetry is for the female voice, and, like, I embrace that, because it's not a lot of people that speak for us and that stand up for us and actually in the right way and empower us. Like, so I feel like my poetry opens up those doors, and, like, it ruffles some feathers sometimes. Like, I'm gonna make you uncomfortable with what the fuck I gotta say. Like, because women go through a lot.
Cool.
So much.
And I talk about this a lot because I think it's social media is being used for us to go against each other. The black man, the black woman, and it's working. I'm not sure if people realize that that's the agenda. And when I say that, I mean the agenda of us. As long as we like this, then we not creating families. We not birthing children. We're not creating households that's healthy.
And it uphold, and it's like, oh, this is a deep topic. But I feel like a lot of times we uphold some of the most toxic standards, and we wonder why our sons don't know their dads, and our daughters hate their mothers, and it's like it's the black family dynamic is obliterated. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I grew up in a circumstance like that. Like, I'm the youngest of 12 because my father had multiple baby mothers, and he was a great father, but obviously he was a terrible partner because he could not stay faithful, and it messed up my family dynamic in a lot of ways. And I'm still healing and trying to relearn what love looked like and what I want my future family to look like. And it's like, I feel like, and we have to really tear down a lot of our toxic ideologies and really learn and relearn what love is in the black community, because we're upset that marriage rates are low and that our kids don't have two-parent households or just all type of stuff. But it's because it's like we have to do better so we can break those generational curses. And like I'm deep for real. Like, we can go all the way back to slavery with it. Like, they never wanted black people to be a family. Like, they took us from each other. You split up mothers from their kids and fathers out of their homes. Like, it's generational. So when we got out of slavery, a family idea wasn't ingrained in us. So it's like you take that to different generations of the black man not being in the home, and things like that. Like, that's deeper than people think.
We also as mothers have to own the part we played in it.
Yeah.
And I was just speaking to somebody before you got here about that particular topic, because we as mothers, we needed the help, because it's better with two parents in the household than it's ever going to be with one. So we needed the help, but unfortunately the help had conditions to it. And that meant that the fathers would not be allowed to be present to watch their kids grow, to help with simple things, discipline, structure, protection, being a provider, because that's what the black father and man is. But like you said, it has been effective for a very long time.
Yeah.
I feel like it's our duty.
It is.
It's our time to start to, like you said, break those chains, end some of those beliefs, because I believe that comes directly from beliefs of certain things, because just because it was told to you doesn't make it right.
And
or
normalization,
fact.
like, I'm not saying like the baby mama baby daddy culture. Like I'm not saying that sometimes you get pregnant and you keep your kid and you realize it ain't gonna work with this person, but we gonna try to raise them, and life happens and it's okay. But what my whole thing is like I feel like a lot of times men will be a little too fruitful and they'll have multiple children with different women, and they don't realize that is like traumatizing sometimes in a way, because those kids will never have a normal upbringing, and men have been taught that it's okay to have multiple women and to sleep around
because they was told the old saying to sow your seeds.
And they don't do it in the right way. God says you should love your wife as you do, him, and it's like you should be faithful to her the same way. I feel like people have to realize, like, you giving yourself to multiple people and you creating kids, like, that's trauma bombs at the end of the day, and it takes years to rebuild that. I'm
not sure if the father or the man understands that.
I don't think they do. I don't think
I don't believe that they understand that at all. And I'm not taking nothing away from the man, because we need each other.
Yes, men are essential.
That is y'all so important.
So important.
But the world, society, different things that's been put upon us has made y'all feel like y'all worthless, that y'all don't have a place in the household, which can be confused with the independent woman, because I've been told that a lot of my life. Oh, you too independent. And it's like, well, at the end of the day, I'm responsible for the choices that I made. And like you talked about, not being able to work stuff out. And it's okay. You don't have to stick in a relationship, to me. I don't feel like you need to stick in a relationship and show your kids how much you can endure from somebody.
Yeah,
because that's what you're teaching them. You're not teaching them healthy relationships and connections when you stay in a relationship that is not healthy or beneficial to you. A relationship that you can't grow in. And just because y'all have a kid together don't mean y'all have to be together. This is what co-parenting is all about. Within the relationship and outside of the relationship, co-parenting still has to exist. And so I'm not sure if a lot of people realize
because there's some marriages where it's both parents in the house and y'all are not co-parenting and the mother's still doing everything and he's still in the house. But I want to go back to what you said about like the independent woman. So like I feel like why as women, why can't our submissive side and our independence coexist? It's like, why do I have to conform and be one way or another? Like, I don't want you to be intimidated by my independence or by my ambition or my drive. I'm a person too, just like you. Gender aside, I'm gonna have ambitions, and I feel like sometimes women are condemned for our independence, especially black women, because it's seen as like something that's negative, or like the strong black woman dynamic. Like, let me be submissive and let me trust you enough to be submissive in your arms, but also empower me enough to still walk in my independence as a woman.
Well, I feel like that stems from people not understanding that there has to be a balance when it comes to feminine and masculine energy.
That's so true.
And it's not gender decided. This is for every human being. If you have more of one or the other, this is why we see some of these stereotypes or statements being made about that. Because people don't understand that comes from lack of information, lack of knowledge, and also imbalance. Because it is some women out here that choose, because it's a choice, for you to recognize that there are two sources of energy and that they need to balance out in order for you to be able to operate fully as who you are. But there is a lot of women out here that choose to walk in the masculine energy based off of traumas that were not dealt with.
Yes, and I'm not saying that. I've definitely seen like a woman taking her independence like to a toxic level. Like, if you're in a relationship with a man, first of all, women need love, men need respect. That's something I learned.
Man.
If you're in a relationship with a man and you're calling him out his name, if you're being condescending towards him or trying to make him feel less than, you don't need to be with him because you don't respect him. And a man that don't feel respected is a terrible thing, because now you are taking your independence as a woman to a level that is demeaning to his masculine character, and you don't want to treat nobody like that. You know what I'm saying? And I think that goes back to like those energy balances. If I love a person, but if I love my man, I'm not never about to be like, oh, you bitch ass nigga and all this stuff. And like, I want to talk to you and respect you the same way I want you to love me.
Mm-hmm.
And I think
men have to be needed.
Yes,
that is.
And
that's
have
part
to be
of why
wanted.
they fit right, and that's part of why a lot of them feel like, no, the angry black woman, because that's another topic that we could discuss, because it's a stereotype.
It is.
Some people feel like, yes, we are angry, but I feel like it comes from us not allowing ourselves to get it out. And that comes
and if I'm angry, so what? Like Andre Lord, who was a famous essayist and poet, said, the use of anger can be a positive thing, especially for the strong black female persona and dynamic, because we have to use our anger. We have never been included in conversations for anything that was positive. When it was civil rights, nobody was fighting for the black woman. When it was women's suffrage movement, nobody was fighting for the black woman. Yes, we angry, because what we need is going to be put to the forefront. And it's like, I feel like that negative stereotype has always been kind of pushed onto us when we ask for what we need. Why does my needs and wants have to come off as anger? It's not. And if I'm angry, so what?
And what I've learned at my age is anger is just a term used for hurt.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know no other way to articulate it, so this is the way it comes out as anger, but it's really hurt.
Because it's an emotion at the end of the day.
A lot of people confuse the two, but I'm simply saying I've learned that now. I've allowed myself to be angry, but I've also learned like, it was fueled
Have you learning that helped you like control your anger?
Yeah.
Really? Mm-hmm. Do you feel like you was an angry person?
I think I was a hurt person, and I'm a firm believer that hurt people.
Period.
So that was a season of my life where I thought that it was okay.
Something I admire about you just already. Like, I feel like, I don't know how old you are, but I know you got a daughter my age. But I feel like a lot of times adults get stuck in their ways and they never, like, heal themselves and unlearn things that they've walked with for their whole life. And I think it's commendable and it's admirable that you have, as a woman, you have unlearned stuff and you have tore down walls that you probably built out of anger to be softer in your age and to be softer in this journey in this part of your life. And a lot of older people don't do that work, and they just stay bitter. They stay in whatever emotion that they're in, and they don't never change, and they die that way. And I think it's beautiful that you as a woman was able to, plant your own garden inside of yourself.
I have to. Not just so much for me, but what I've learned through therapy and meditation and this podcast and just connecting with other people and hearing their stories was, I'm not doing it just for me.
Yeah.
That's where the whole generational curses and chains being broken. Me choosing to heal and work on myself heals my daughters from things that they didn't ever. I have two daughters.
Oh, okay.
My oldest is 23. Jalen just turned 21, and I have a son. He'll be 20 this summer. So now all of them is in this season of their life where it's like, okay, stuff is different now. And so a few years back, I realized, like, no, do the work. And I made a commitment to myself, like, it's going to be hard. It's going to be days you don't want to. And it was. It still is. And it forever will be, because working on yourself is a lifelong thing. It's not, I do something one time and it sustains the rest of my life. No, this is you waking up every day and choosing to do something, to address something that has been a problem for you in your life, whether it's making friends or being in a relationship with a significant other, or just a relationship with your kids. I realized that I was hurt and broken to a point where I was hurting them. And that is what made me be like, no, that's not okay. And it took me a while, but eventually I was able to, like, tell them, like, I'm sorry for hurting y'all. Because I was hurting. and I didn't know how to deal with what was going on inside of me.
Do you feel like you became a mother before you became a woman?
Oh, absolutely.
And do you think that like influenced how you maneuvered in your like with your kids' lives?
Yeah, because I had a lot of childhood trauma for sure before I even became a mother that wasn't addressed, and I was one of those people. Well, if it's out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
And so I ran from it for a long time. I was just like, no, well, it's not an issue today. And it wasn't until I started creating businesses for myself and stepping out on faith and doing stuff on my own outside of the typical corporate America story. All those traumas kept showing up. And I was like,
I think a lot of times women have to grow up and become mothers before they become women, and I think it can definitely influence like how they raise their kids, because you're growing up with them. And I watch my sisters do it, and it's like it's one of those things where you're gonna have to look back and be like, we're gonna have some shit we're gonna have to heal from. And it's like, and that just is what it is, like, you know what I'm saying, because you have a baby young, you know, you're a baby yourself, and you don't really know no better. Seriously, like, if you knew better, you do better, you know what I'm saying. So I think that's powerful. So it was like beautifully spoken.
That's Jalen.
Oh, hey girl.
Core, how you doing?
And I feel like women be having to step up and become the mothers. We don't have no choice, but I think the difference is that people don't understand, like, we women literally are given life to give life. You know what I'm saying? We bring kids into this world, and when that child come out of us, unless you know whatever you like, when that child come out of us, it's our responsibility to raise them and to do that job. A lot of times, you know, the men, sometimes they walk away and they don't have to become a dad in that moment, and they choose when they want to step up to the plate. And I think that be the key difference on why women don't really get to bask in their femininity, because they're so busy basking in motherhood.
But we gotta own the part we play in it, because we accept certain things. A man gonna tell you how he feel.
Period.
We'll ignore everything he said and try to make it what we want it to be.
Yes.
And it just don't work like that.
And
that has killed so many relationships right there by having that kind of mindset. Because that's what makes us different. The way we choose to view things, the way we choose to go about things is what separates us. Not just the way our anatomy is, but the way our brain is wired. They don't look at things the way we do.
That's so true.
But they also were created to be hunters. And I think when that term is used, I think people use that in a negative light, where it's like, well, what you mean, hunters? No, literally. Because they were told to seek out us as women and find a wife and create a family. So that makes them the hunter and we are the prey. But it's also boundaries. And standards and stipulations that should be learned before you should even be having any children. And I think that is the part that us as mothers don't own, because we not even allowing ourselves to get to know ourselves before we gonna get a chance to know them. But it's too late now, because now we about to be parents and we trying to figure out why it's not working. Well, we never even decided past sleeping together.
Yes, that's so
that's
true.
a big issue in our community,
It's
because
a huge issue.
it's like
people having babies that they don't even know the person, and they don't even know themselves. It's so important for women to sit with themselves. I've been single for it'll be 3 years in July, and it's so important. Like my last sister, I met him when I was in college. I was 19. We broke up when I was literally 21. And then from 20, I'm 24 now. And so it's like those years that I've been in my 20s, and I was just feeding me. I was pouring into me. And I ain't gonna say it's been perfect. I done did things. Healing is not a linear journey. It's a, you know, you take steps back, and I always say healing is a river. It can go forward just as much as it goes backwards. You know what I'm saying? And I think that, and I feel like, but I've really been sitting with myself for these last 3 years. Even if I was entertaining somebody, I still was prioritizing me. And I feel like those 3 years have taught me, one, what I want, what I need, what do I like. If you don't even know what you like, you won't even be picking the right partner. Like, I love to go to the lake. I love to sit by water. Yes. I love to read. I love to write. If I can't share my poetry with you, I don't even want to be with you, because that's a huge part of me. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I'm sensitive. It's just the little things, and
We
now
want to just feel heard. I
Yes.
think that we have gotten shunned, shushed, and told to be quiet for so long. It's a trickle down effect with everything in this life. That's what I've learned. Whether it's good or bad, it's for you to decipher. You have to sift through everything that had occurred prior to you being present and take what resonates with you and what applies to where you at in your current life.
Yes.
And that's how you make sound decisions versus I'm moving off of emotion.
impulse and emotion.
Because I hear a lot of men say, we all just too emotional. That is one of the things that makes us women.
Yes.
Everything
power
about
in
us is
emotion.
based off of our emotions. I'm not saying that you shouldn't learn how to control them, because that's
Right.
very much
Important.
your responsibility.
Control your emotions
Yeah, but
and learn your emotions.
it's our genetics, it's our makeup, it's the way
But,
God made us.
but men are emotional too, and I wish y'all would
Woo, but guess
admit
what?
that.
Some mothers have told their sons, and I made sure
know.
that I would never say your feelings not valid to my son,
No, yes,
or
I
that
do
you
feel like
get
it.
less of a male or man because you show emotion or you cry. Because I'm a firm believer, crying helps cleanse.
It's healing.
It helps you get it out. When you can't put words to how you feeling, it helps you get it out. So I'm not going to diminish or demean you or make you feel less than or rejected because you in tune with your emotions. A lot of mothers tell their sons, don't cry because you weak,
Yeah.
or that makes you less of a man. And that is what we're seeing now as far as the dating pool. Because not only do we have things we need to heal from, so do they.
Yes.
And nobody is giving them the space.
I definitely
Because I had to
feel like-
learn how to create the environment
For your-
for my children to be able to say, hey, this is how what you said or did made me feel.
And I feel like women are raised to bask in our emotions, and men are raised to dumb near down. But then we ask these two people to come together and be in a relationship. How have you taught this person
Yeah.
or this group of people or this gender one thing and then taught this gender another one? And I feel like women in the past, women have did that because men, men are supposed to lead. Men are definitely, God made them the way they made. He did that on purpose. He made them stronger. He made them in a certain light. And it's like, just because he made them like that doesn't mean they don't get to be emotional. Because even I be telling my sister, stop yelling at my nephew like you yelling at him and you telling him these things or whatever like that. But then one day he gonna get a girlfriend and she gonna want him to be vulnerable and emotional. He's not gonna know how. Because he's grown up, the only woman he ever had in his life, the first woman a man have in his life is the most important woman, and that's his mother. And if that woman told him these things, like you just said, don't cry, don't do this, it's going to affect how he treats other women. Just like a daughter's relationship with her father affects how she treats men. I know, I be like, I have to unlearn some stuff from my father, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's important that we definitely change that stigma. And I try to address those things in my poetry. Like, I have this poem called 50 Men and Fun Girls, and it talks about like a toxic man and a toxic woman trying to be together, knowing that they both have like their own demons that they haven't dealt with. Because I definitely think, our men need to be loved on, and they need to be protected, and they need to be told that it's okay to be emotional. I don't want my man to be no brick wall. Be soft with me.
Love me, because I'm going to love the meat off the bone. For real, for real though, like.
And that softness is intimacy, and that's love.
Well, I also feel like it's a lot of demanding for men, for us to be submissive. But you also have to make me feel safe and secure enough for me to be submissive. We don't have a problem doing that, but what environment are you creating for us to do so?
Hello.
And that be the biggest thing. It's not an argument for us to tell you, hey, you said this to me or you did this to me and this is how I feel. And this is the only way I can express myself. That translates to men who are not healed or choose not to work on themselves as that's an argument. And it's like, what? Hold on. Because I thought that an argument was two people that can't reach agreement about a specific topic. I mean, I'm saying something, I got points, and you saying something, and you got points, and we just can't agree on this particular subject. But if it's only one person expressing how they feel, that's them choosing to be vulnerable with you and you being dismissive.
Yeah.
And that does
And that's emotional manipulation.
Oh, narcissistic behavior. And that could fall in so many different categories because we got some narcissistic women out here too. So
definitely.
And that just stems
narcissistic people. Period. Work on yourself and address your own toxic traits and do better. Be a better person. Please do, because we make the world go round. And if that's what you bring into the world, that's what's going on.
And that's why I try to tell people, because, I mean, although the father is the leader, the world is in the state that it's in because of the state of the woman. Because we are the womb. Like you said, we carry life. Nobody can do what we do when it comes to that. You know, we need to start taking care of ourselves. Emotionally, mentally, physically. Because our wombs is in the shape of the world for a reason. It's not because they couldn't make it no other shape. I've seen babies whole foot come out. You like, well, wait a minute, what's going on? You know, but we have to do better. We are unhealthy in so many different ways. And I don't like to say sick, but we are unhealthy in so many different ways. And as long as the womb itself is in that kind of condition, when it needs to be healed, then the world we can't fix or solve none of our problems because we literally carrying it in our stomachs.
That's deep. That's definitely deep.
So, you know, I try to just speak from a place of love and wisdom with a lot of the things that we discuss on here. You also teach.
I do teach. I'm a teacher. I teach at Cleveland Heights High School. Shout out to my babies.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yes, I teach 9th grade English.
Okay.
I'm licensed 7th through 12th, but I don't like middle schoolers. They're ruthless. And my heart really lies with the adolescence age of like that high school age because I think it's so important for our babies to get all they can out of those 4 years before we release them into the world. So that is where my passion lies, to just be with high schoolers and to just be like a resource for them. I'm in the classroom, so I'm with them every day, but a lot of what I want to do and the changes I want to make is like in the administrative role. So I'm actually going back to Cleveland State in the fall to get my master's to be a principal, because we need more principals, more black principals. We do. We need to be in these buildings for our kids and making changes and making an impact. It's important.
I don't think enough parents realize that. The pandemic definitely showed us the disconnect, where the gap needs to be bridged, where the issues lie. You know, I posted a video, I think maybe sometime last week, about the scale for our children in reference to literacy and it not being talked about enough.
Yeah.
We are putting too much pressure on the teacher. Let me make this clear. The teacher's role is to reinforce what you already putting down as the parent.
Yes. Our babies should
Please
a lot of reading and writing.
stop thinking that their role is to be the parent. Because that's the problem right there. You giving somebody too much power and you're not taking any responsibility.
Yes, ma'am.
And that's going to be a problem in the long run when this child is conflicted.
And we got them for 8 hours a day, but like even in high school, like they're in our classrooms for 50-minute periods. So it's like if they only doing reading and writing for 50 minutes, like they do need to go home and do something. So it's like, but for like elementary kids, even in elementary, like I don't really know the structure of elementary class because I don't teach elementary, but I do know they touch different subjects. So you still need to be at home with the babies, reading with them, doing math problems with them, anything you can think of. Get a workbook, turn on like something. If you're gonna have on a TV or an iPad, turn on something educational. It's imperative to do stuff with your kids at home, especially for kids that maybe have a hidden learning disability. Like not every disability is visible. Like there's kids walking around that struggle with reading and writing. They might be dyslexic. They might have dyscalculia, and you can't see it right away. And they've been hiding it, and it's like they don't. And we really have to do better with that. And the thing is, if a child doesn't feel like they belong in the classroom and they don't feel seen and heard in school, it would definitely affect the way they maneuver in the world when they graduate. They have to find a sense of like self and belonging in that classroom or in that school somewhere, so when they leave they can find a sense of self in the world. You know what I'm saying? It has to transfer over, and it's like, especially for our black kids.
Well, problem number one, they overstimulated.
That's true.
Now my kids is grown now. I tried as best I could to kind of keep them from social media to a certain age. But these little kids with the iPad and the cell phones under 10 years old, and they own them for more than 5 hours a day, that's a problem.
It's a huge problem.
And then when you taking it, they falling out and having tantrums. That is the result of them being overstimulated by something else and not necessarily stimulating their own brain cells. And that's going to be a problem later on in life. If you don't believe it, then just keep letting them do it. And you won't see. Our kids is suffering. It's not other people's kids. It's our kids. It's suffering. Because we have this confusion in our mind as black mothers that is the schools and the teachers' responsibility to enforce and teach certain things. But again, I will repeat, the teacher's job is to reinforce what you've already been teaching. So you can see who is doing what and who is not.
And like when you have to teach your kids how to be respectful, how to be social, how to have manners. If your child if every time you need them to be quiet and sit down and shut up, instead of having a conversation and teaching them like social skills and and those are skills that they're going to really take in every part of the world, not just school. Then when they get to school and like we're having to discipline them and we have to tell them to do stuff, it's like they get mad, disrespectful, and they get really out of character because they are not being taught how to be respectful and how to have manners and how to, just carry themselves. Like they have like serious social issues, and it's like I feel like our children, parents need to start. I'm not saying like whip them, but y'all need to start like. You and your child at eyes, or you feel like they're doing something, like stop shoving an iPad in their face to get them to be quiet. Like sit down and tell them when you're upset or a grown up tells you to do something, you don't do that. You know what I'm saying? Like I have students that just say some of the craziest stuff. Like
but they also are still sponges from birth. True. And so a lot of times they're mimicking the behavior of the parent.
Yeah.
Or parents in the household. And so at the end of the day, you really can't even blame the child. You really gotta we just gotta stop making excuses for why these things are occurring, and take ownership.
Changing us on my name on you, so I know it's real.
It's okay.
We gotta take ownership. For us as parents, as adults, because we know more than y'all know. You know what I mean? As far as what should be or shouldn't be happening. It's on us first. We supposed to set the example, and then they supposed to pick up what we're putting down as the adult. Hey, listen, this is how you handle things. Because I would teach my kids, like, try to settle it on your own first. Before you come say anything to me. And this was prior to me starting to work on myself, because I displayed behavior in front of my kids that I'm not proud of. But I also was a young mother. So, but I would tell them, no, you figure it out on your own first. And if whatever route or choice or decision or lane that you was going to go, didn't work out in your favor and you had to come see me, how I'm going to deal with it is not how you gonna deal with it. It works the same way with adults and God.
Mm.
If we just stop thinking
Damn, that's deep.
that it's our way,
Yeah.
it's not. It ain't.
Mm.
We wish it was. It sound good. Maybe it
Right.
make us feel better about the things we doing, but we not in control like
No.
that.
Mm-mm.
But we'll try to convince the next person that we are. No, that's not how this goes, sweetheart. No, we both up against the same judgment at the end of the day. But the question is, who is the judge?
Mm.
And that's something you gonna have to decide in your life. Who is the judge? I would rather it be God before it's gonna be anybody else.
Oh, that's right.
So it's perspective, and I feel like that only comes with age. And
Yeah.
the same thing with wisdom.
Experience, time,
Mhm.
and that's why we're the adults, because we've been here longer and we know more, and we have to do better at giving our kids the right tools and the right things they need to be successful. Like, and I love my job, and I have some amazing kids. These kids are smart. Our kids are resourceful. They're tenacious. Like, they have opinions. They can be anything and do anything they put their minds to. It's just will they put their minds to it, and will they actually put in the work? Like, I know we touched on some things that was more so like negative, but like, I'm not a teacher because of the negative stuff. I'm a teacher because of the positive stuff, and because I love what I see. Like, I have some kids that can sing, that can write poetry, that can draw. Our kids are so talented.
Yeah.
They have so many beautiful things, and I love that part of the job, and I want to pour into those parts of our children so they can go out into the world with a sense of purpose. But there's always room for improvement. Read and write and do arithmetic with your kids at home, please. Like right now. If you're done watching this, go read to them.
Something, please and thank you.
So,
For real.
I don't care if y'all at the table with a clear piece of paper. What's 1 + 2 +? I don't care. You can go buy some books, please. You buying all these games, AirPods. God, can you take them to Barnes and Noble?
Can you take them to the public library?
Hello. Get a library
It's
card.
free.
It's free.
Don't.
And then go read with them. Just do something that involves literacy.
Start being present for your children.
And proactive in their education.
That's the bottom line.
They coming home with F's, and you like, why the fuck you got all F's? Well, when did you read with them?
When did you ask them about anything that they had going on? It's too many parents out here that know everything else going on in the city, but don't know nothing else going on with their children.
And go to parent-teacher conferences. Please, it's important. If you can't make it, call the teacher. It's so parent-to-teacher communication.
There's other
is so
ways
important.
that I can communicate with you. Zoom.
Yes, if you can't
Google
come, you telling
Meet.
me you got your kid is in the hands of these grown-ups all day, every day, for 8 hours a day. Sometimes we see your kids more than you, and you telling me you don't want to know who we are and what we look like, just have a conversation with us and get a feel for the type of person we are. Like, please go to parent-teacher conferences or call the teacher, reach out. Hey, how's my child doing? Email, text me. I'll give you my number.
Mm-hmm. But
Anything.
it's so many parents that they don't want that.
They need to.
And it's unfortunate.
That's your future.
They don't want that. And then when they get older and the kids don't want to be bothered. Because now that's something you gotta think about. Whatever you put down with the relationship with you and your children, that's gonna follow you.
Yeah, how you treat your children now, or how they're gonna treat you. You need to ask yourself: are you treating them in a way that in 20 years, when they're grown, are they gonna like you? Are they gonna want to talk to you and be around you? That is so important. I'm not saying you got to be your child's friend, but have a good relationship with your child. Like, I think that is so important. I'm not really gonna go too much deeper into it, but just keep that in mind, because that toxic stuff that we have in our households, it transfers over to our kids, and when they get older, they have a say-so if they want to be subjected to that. I meet so many people that say they moved away from home because they couldn't stand their family. And I love my family, but some days I can't stand my family too. And it's like, you gotta be careful about that. You know what I'm saying?
Well, we got to start coming together more.
That's so true.
Period. If we can't expect one person to win championships
Mm-hmm.
in reference to anything in our city, it is a collective effort that is going to propel. It's a lot of small little wins that you string together to create the final like play that's going to help us make the changes that need to be made.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Unfortunately, it's our neighborhoods that suffer the most
Yes, ma'am.
because, for a lot of
I
different
think people
reasons.
take that so lightly when we say that. It's our neighborhoods that suffer the most. And I think people don't really understand what we mean by that. If you drive to Pepper Pike, Beechwood, Streetsboro, it's a thriving community. They got good grocery stores. It ain't no corner stores or liquor stores on the corner. You got every type of business any person can need in those communities. You got good school systems where they pass levies and get money. You got active parents. And if you drive to 131st and whatever, if you drive to Superior, if you drive to Buckeye, that's our neighborhoods. And on every corner, it's a liquor store, it's a Save a Lot, it's a fast food restaurant. I don't think people really understand.
It's gentrification.
Look at the differences. If you drive to white neighborhoods, it's health, it's wealth, it's things that are good to push you through life. If you drive to any black neighborhood, everything is fast food, fast grocery stores. It's cheap. It's not anything that's actually like feeding us and making us better. And that's why when black people get put on, they move to white neighborhoods. And you're away from your people. We don't, instead of building up our own neighborhoods and changing it and getting better, we move to the white neighborhoods and we basically conform to their way of life. Instead of trying to make our neighborhoods better, they put us in ghettos. And we
It's
adapt to it.
gentrification. That's
Yeah.
what that's called. Because no matter where you put certain people, you can't take certain things out of them. It's
Yeah.
conditioned.
Mhm.
They tell us, oh, we helping. And I want to do a topic on this real soon on the loss that we took as the black community and culture, allowing the government and society to dictate the help that we was gonna get, and how it affected the household.
I was just
itself.
talking about this with my mom and my sisters. We was on, you name any welfare, you name it, we was on it. We was on food stamps, we was on Section 8, we was on PIP, anything. And my whole existence determined on if that government was going to give my mom that money because she had 7 kids, and it was like she couldn't take care of 7 kids by herself, and that's a really good topic. You should do that.
Well,
Because
I
us.
feel like yes, it controls us, but it makes us codependent,
It does.
and it also robs us of the father being present. Because when you think about WIC and food stamps and Section 8, the first thing they ask you is who all live in the household, right?
And is the father present?
That's why. Because I'm giving you the help. Essentially, that translates to them that these are their kids. And I don't think people realize that either. I just realized that with my son graduating last year. And I was like, so every time I filled out this paperwork and signed it, I gave y'all permission to do certain things where y'all really don't need my permission after that, because I've already given it in my signature on this paperwork. And all y'all gotta do is pull it out of a file, copy it, or say, yeah, this is where the permission was given on this day at this time. So I feel like we got played. A lot of us needed the help. Like you said, we needed the help for more reasons than one. But the help came with conditions. And control.
Because
and
when you're on Section 8,
realize.
they tell you where you can live.
Yeah.
Yeah, and those places are not usually good neighborhoods.
I'm going through that right now.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
And it's so crazy because I told people, and I mean, even I knew this, but time go by so fast. You be busy working on certain things that you think is important at the time, and you don't be thinking about the long term, the after effects. I'm one of those people. Heck, I've only had it 3 or 4 years, And my goal was to just get a part of the homeowners program so that I can start the process of purchasing my own home, because I believe we codependent on it
Yeah.
so bad to the point where we still want to hold on to certain things even after we've outgrown them, or they've served their purpose. And I think they know that now, and that's why they not giving us as much as they used to give us, as in reference to food stamps, and they slowly canceling out Section 8, and they've already put an age on WIC. You know, so we have to start being more accountable, more responsible. We are resourceful people. There's no way that we are this codependent on somebody else's way of living, because this is not our way of living. We thrive from nature.
I would like to see statistics on that type of stuff, like of race and all that stuff, like who's really getting the most of what. Because I mean, I'm so.
Oh, I can answer that for you.
I mean, I know, but I still want to see like what's the percentage of white people that's on.
Who?
those.
Way more than us. I can tell you that for facts. But they're not never going to disclose that type of information because they control what we see on the news
And
and
that's
on,
put out in
on TV
media.
and stuff like that. So I feel like that's what made me stop watching the news so much
I understand.
and engaging in those type of things, because I believe they use the platform to further push us into depression, because we desensitized anyway. And that started with the TV. That started with the microwave. That started with now the cell phone, internet, social media. Those things are not being used for what they originally created them for. And so now we can see the effects that that's having on us overall. And we can remove the term of it's a white or black anything. No, this is a humanity thing at this point. That we've allowed them to play a position as though they have all the power. And that's not the truth. But if you allow society to tell you that long enough, this is what you start to believe. That they got all the power. It ain't no sense in me going out and voting or exercising my rights or trying to even do anything positive to move us in a different direction. That's what hinders us. Because we'll keep using the things that we know we have been through as a people as the excuse and the crutch to stay there. And that furthers their agenda, because that was the whole plan. I don't want y'all to learn. I don't want y'all to be educated. Look at what they trying to do with TikTok now. And I'm not saying that it shouldn't have certain restrictions. It's things that y'all can put in place on these platforms so people can't do certain things on them. For instance, recording themselves doing something violent or stuff like. It's stuff y'all can do to stop people from doing it.
because there'd be some stuff that.
But to end the entire platform, which has had given out so much good information
it is.
on who we are, what we need to be doing, how we prepare, how we draw what's in us out. This is what TikTok done for so many people.
It's a platform that gave a lot of people a voice.
Yes, absolutely gave us a voice. But see, that's the difference between now and my generation. Because we didn't have none of this stuff. Y'all got so much technology at the tips of y'all fingers and so much information. But what's being done with it? I also don't think y'all get heard enough. I'm learning that from my own kids. To just allow y'all to speak. You know, to say, hey, this is what's going on with my generation or the people I'm engaging with. This is what I want to see happen moving forward. This is what I can contribute to the overall goal. Because we the only culture that can't get together for nothing. Other than to hang out, party, drink, smoke.
And that turns into somebody getting shot. What? As soon as that person get too drunk and then get too violent.
Well, liquor is not really called liquor. It's called spirits. because it's a certain thing that happens with you after you've consumed too much. You see what I'm saying? So they've even bamboozled us with that.
Yeah.
And that's why, like you talked about on every corner, it's a liquor store.
Yeah.
Because I would prefer you to be in a daze. I would prefer you to be drunk. I would prefer you to be high.
And to
So,
be not conscious of like
yes.
the real things that's going on. And
Yeah.
even like the real issues with your own body.
Yeah.
Because you can cover up a lot of issues with just your everyday personal habits of drinking and smoking. Because if you really was put that stuff down, like how do you really feel when you're sober? How does your body feel? Do you feel energized? Do you feel good? Like it's just why they want. That's what I don't, this. We got a whole topic about that. Because I have a whole theory on like black neighborhoods versus white neighborhoods and all that type of stuff. Because if you think the government doesn't put money into black neighborhoods for them to put that stuff on our corners, you're crazy. Okay? They are. The type of food that's in those neighborhoods, the type of stores, all that stuff. It's a market. Save a Lot, all that stuff is in black neighborhoods. They search us out I can't find the Popeyes in no Beechwood or Streetsboro. But any black neighborhood I go to, it's going to be one in there. Liquor stores, all that type of stuff. It's kind of sick how they put that stuff in our neighborhoods and they overload it with us. Like, why do you need a McDonald's, a Wendy's, a Popeyes, a Burger King, a Mr. Hero all within 5 minutes of each other? That in one neighborhood, then that's what everybody gonna eat, because today we can eat Popeyes, tomorrow we can eat this, and now in the grocery stores and the home cooked meals, and now it's just a generation
We
of
not
bad
even
health.
sitting down. We ain't even sitting down
And having
no more.
dinner.
We not. We not sitting down having dinner no more.
Messing up the family dynamic is to get installed.
Well, I want you to close out doing one of your poems, if you would.
Of course.
But before that, tell everybody where they can follow you on the social media platforms, where they can catch you for upcoming events that you might have for your poems, poetry, and spoken word.
You can follow me on Instagram at only one Tory. That's like my main use for my poetry. But my TikTok is also only Tory, and those are like my two social medias. And then some upcoming events. I have a show in Detroit. If any people that's in Detroit or want to travel, on May 31st, I have a show out there. It's the Love Jones Show. I have been posting a flyer. I have a show next Friday at Impactful Pens. It's a spoken word show ran by Spoken Word Mellow, so come check that out. It's in Beechwood. It's an amazing show. And I'm also at People Love Poetry every other Thursday at Africa Taste Lounge. And I have 2 shows next week, and I have another event that is being ran by this girl named Courtney on Instagram, and it's a women empowerment event, and it's very, very, very good. So I will be doing a poem there. So if you want to come to that too, and she has a lot of other stuff that she is also gonna have at that event. So that's just some stuff that I have coming up. But it's gonna be a busy summer. So if you follow me, you're going to see some stuff. I'm trying to do some shows. So
Yes. And you going to do some shows, because I done seen you.
you got to come to some shows.
I will.
Yes.
I will. I have no
You will
problem.
probably really like Africa. It's like a really good vibe. It's in Mayfield.
I actually want to do a poetry hour.
Yes.
I was going to do it at right across the street from that. Right
Really?
next to Hibachi.
Oh, what's it called? At a certain place?
Yeah. What is the name of it?
Well, tell me so I can make sure I come.
Man, and because I know so many people in the city, and I'm like, that would be dope for us to start getting back to that.
Yeah.
Where we have these places, and I wasn't going to just do it for poetry. I was going to do it for,
Some cameos.
yeah, for artists. R&B, rap, because all of that is a form of poetry. You
It really
being able
is.
to write lyrics and create songs and music is still a form of poetry to me.
Do you have like a request or just anything on my heart?
Oh, whatever you want to do. Whatever you want to
I usually
bless
do my
us
poetry
with.
standing up. Like, I'm really not a sit down poetry person, but because of our setup, I have to sit down. So I'm trying to figure out what poem will really be. I feel like our topic was just a lot about like women and men and the family dynamic and just like women and empowerment. So I think I'm gonna do it's like I got 2 I'm thinking of, because I got that poem and then I got like a more love piece for it. I'm gonna do.
Do the love piece.
Okay, I'm gonna do gratitude. It's a love poem, and it's just about like, it's just about love in general, but it really was written in the terms of like how I view like my future black love experience when my husband come and find me.
Oh,
he who finds a wife finds a good thing.
Okay,
And I'm a good thing.
Okay.
So it's called gratitude, and it's just a piece about love. So. You give me a love that makes me trust my heart in the man's hands like I trust God with my life plans. A love that makes me say, baby, I apologize for any woman that ever hurt you in the past. I'm apologizing on her behalf because she didn't know what she had. She didn't know God wrapped your brown skin in silk. She didn't know your words offer nourishment like honey and milk. Your hands were made with patience. Your body was crafted for love making. You protect my peace of mind. Our bodies may not exist for eternity, but this love can last for a lifetime. My empathy has finally stopped screaming for intimacy because with you I finally found it. A love that uses my hands to plant seeds of life. I finally feel grounded. Regrow gardens of trust, climb mountains of truth, swim through waters of endless conversation. You offer my mind consistent hydration. You undress every part of me, but I don't mind if you see me naked. You kiss the scars that you never even created. You just want me to heal. Thank you. Thank you. See, with you, I show gratitude instead of attitude. Our souls travel across the same latitude. My head never lets my heart stay mad at you. You give me comfort. When I lay my head against your chest, I can finally take a deep breath. I'm home. When I see your face, my heart beats at a slower pace. In your presence, I will never be alone. The light in your eyes shine over me like silhouettes of the sun. When I allowed you to fall deeper inside of me, I knew that you would make me come, but not just physically. You give me orgasmic epiphanies. I never truly knew love until your soul came to sit with me, baby. You give me a love that makes me thank my ancestors for existing, because without them there would be no you. Your presence in my life lets me know my angels were listening. God created you just for me. See, I'm yours to keep. I had closed old doors to heal wounds I had long neglected, but then there you were creeping through my windows, offering a love like nectar, rubbing across my face like a summer's breeze, pollinating every part of my mind like flowers and bees. I used to say I knew love existed because of me, but now, baby, I know love exists because of the way you love me. I feel connected to you, so naturally I get wet for you, just like my roots. Because of you, I laugh louder, I hug longer. Because of you, I laugh louder, I hug longer, I kiss tighter. My heart no longer knows moments of somber. With you, I sing songs of sweet melodies, making love feels heavenly. I'm blessed to have you next to me. I thank God for you. And this poem is just one symbol of my gratitude. Poem.
Man, that's so...
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Oh my God. Let me get a picture for Instagram. Tell them to go watch it, and then you can just tell me when you upload it.
Okay.
And I can
I'm
make some
gonna tag you
stuff.
in it.
Ready?
Yep. Well, y'all know how this goes. Another episode for Unspoken Truth Podcast. I'm your host.
A
Denise.
Wonderful host. Beautiful spirit.
This is my guest, Tory. Make sure y'all go follow her, check her out. Download, share, comments on some of her content. Tell somebody to tell somebody, okay?
Yes. And please share this episode if you've seen a clip that you liked, because we get on some really, really tough subjects, some tough topics, and we was our most vulnerable, authentic self. We really gave y'all some real truth. So, like, post them clips and share them, and really, because this is a beautiful podcast, and you have some beautiful topics, and it's real and it's raw. And so, thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Bye, y'all. I'll see y'all next Friday, okay?
Bye.
That was so good.
This picture is too cute.